Getting out with your sanity intact, man. This is for everybody, whether you're a musician, an actor, a model, anybody that's made an attempt or been in the entertainment business of any kind, man. I've known a lot of people, most of my friends over the years. Some of them were models, some of them were actors, some of them were musicians. I think here's the thing, man. Today with social media and stuff, we're able to peer into the lives of our friends, people we've known since high school, people we've known since college, people we knew in the early days of the entertainment business. And it's sort of a window into the soul, or a peek into the life, the daily life of these people that we used to know. Man, as you get older, man, that look, it can be harder to see those things. It could be harder to see what people go through, and remembering what they were, knowing them. Here's the thing. You could know somebody, say, way back in 1988, and they are stuck in your brain, that 1988 version of them. And maybe things were unresolved, or maybe the friendship ended poorly, or maybe it just fizzled out and you lost contact. But it's like almost like how an alcoholic kind of stays mentally at the same age that they were when they started drinking. You remember those people from that time. You remember what they were. An old song can come on the radio, and you can be instantly transported back to that time and see those images and remember that person when they were a completely different place than they currently are in today's world. And man, I can honestly say by, getting older and looking and seeing what's going on, a lot of them are really struggling with their sanity, with, trying to age gracefully. And many have, sort of seemingly slipped away, kind of like if you've got a grandparent that has, 4 different Facebook pages because they can't figure out how to get in one. So then they start another one, and it's like multiple one. Well, there's people my age. And look, I'm 58 years old now. There's people my age that have had 3 or 4, Facebook pages. And after a while, you just sort of give up because, one, you don't know if it's somebody creating a scam. And you see these people slowly. I mean, you can almost like, if you Google these people, you can almost see the trajectory of, man, they were once, in a very good place and seemingly had the world at their fingertips. And now it seems they're losing their grip on reality. Now, this is a unique video, and I think a lot of people will let me know in the comments. We all have ex-girlfriends or friends or bandmates or people we knew from work back in the day. And, and now you remember them then, But, now they might be in a totally different headspace. And it can be shocking, one, to see how they've aged. And some have aged better than others. And some, it's shocking. It's kind of like this, man. As an older guy, that grew up in the rock era, there came a time when you started going to some of these rock concerts of bands that you liked when you were a kid. And you start looking around, looking to your left and to your right and in front of you and behind you. And you start realizing, man, everybody here is old. It's no longer, a hip place to be, going to this, and I won't name a specific band right now, but because it doesn't even matter which band you call out. The audiences now are old. It's no longer, going and it's like young, beautiful people and in the vibrancy of life and, and this exciting new thing. It's a bunch of people reliving their past, reliving moments. Why do you think people's Spotify playlists are generally filled with old songs? Because people are, essentially remembering their past and wanting to feel like they did back then. So as you get older, you want to feel those things. You want to remember those moments when you were young and full of life and full of promise. And the world can kick you, so hard sometimes, and things can bring you down, and life can kick your ass. And you can find yourself just struggling to survive every day, and that you can live life like that for decades. Struggling with your finances, struggling with your sanity, struggling with addiction, and many of our friends, man, if you grew up in the rock era, many of them, struggled with all of those things, sometimes at the same time. And that took a toll on how we've all aged. It's not been a kind world to many of us. And, realizing that we're all old now, going to, a Van Halen concert in, I don't know, was it 2011? And just seeing, man, we're just all old. There's a few young people at the show because, maybe they're guitar players or young guitar players or whatever. But for the most part, it's just a bunch of people reliving their past. And then you're seeing, David Lee Roth, who was the stud of all studs, and now he looks like Dr. Smith on Lost in Space, and he's doing Fred Astaire style dance moves on stage. It's a harsh reality. It's almost like seeing yourself in the mirror and realizing that now you're old. Maybe for all those years you looked in the mirror and you lied to yourself and said, I still look good. I still look pretty good. I still got it and all that. But then when you realize how old you are and how young people view you, you realize you're not young anymore. And that can be a very, very tough thing to deal with. And like I said, man, it's shocking. It's shocking to think back at the promise that some people had, and maybe your old relationships and things like that, and realize, man, maybe you dodged a bullet way back then. Maybe things fell apart for a reason because it wasn't meant to be. And you just, it's kind of like one of those musicians, like a John Sykes or, Jakey Lee, when he went into hiding. You wonder, what do they do every day? What is going on? And we all have friends like that who are just intermittent, Facebook or social media posts, and you really never know what they're doing, and they're very mysterious. And then maybe a picture pops up because they go out to lunch with the friend, and the friend posts the picture, and you see what they look like, and you're like, oh my God. And then the realization that, man, I'm old too. We're all old. We once had the world in the palm of our hands, or so we thought. So we thought, but we never really did. We never really ever achieved that. I don't care if you become the biggest star in the world, man. Time waits for no one. Time is the great equalizer, and time catches up with us all. And man, you can't go back. It's like you can't, if you leave home, when you're say 19 or 20 years old, and you go to the city and you experience life like that, it's very hard to go home and live a normal life. I don't think I could have gone from the Sunset Strip back to Virginia and just forgotten that all of those things had happened and all that wild, rock and roll madness had happened, and just go about my life. It would be next to impossible to, go back home after life on the Sunset Strip and try and forget that all of that happened, and that for seemingly, a few years, but it now feels like 15 minutes, you were a rock star, and people don't believe it. I went the other day, my wife had a little Valentine's Day party for the kids in the neighborhood, and they all met out in the square. And at one point, my wife texted me and said, bring me a cold water. So I went out there, and I had my rock t-shirt on and my black jeans and, my hair, and all the other moms and stuff there were like, oh, who's this rock star coming up, and I just said, that was another life. That was another time. That's not now, So you can't go home. You can never go back in time. Those people are not the same people anymore. We are not the same people anymore. And life changes. Music changes. People's tastes change. What's popular changes. Our heroes are dying. Our music's maybe dying. There's still young people that I'm sure are blasting Zeppelin right now and Van Halen, but they're fewer and farther between. There's young kids picking up guitar now, but they're not getting excited by Eddie Van Halen. They're getting excited by maybe the guy in Polyphia or the guy in Periphery or some hardcore metal band, that's totally different from the tastes of music that maybe we were into back in the day. If you've survived, as far as I'm concerned, if you've survived at this point and you're alive and you're in reasonably good health and you've lived through a life in the music business or entertainment or modeling or any of that, because man, we've all had to dodge, creeps and weirdos and addictions and financial struggles and all this stuff. And it's surprising. And I know I look beat up, but it's amazing that I I'm even alive, to be honest. But man, when I think of people in the past, I think of my friends back in the day, and man, I'm very thankful for the time that we had together. And I'm not really talking about any of the friends that I'm still in touch with, more the ones I just kind of see off in the distance, just sort of existing, and then maybe drifting off into obscurity. Like I said, the ones that have multiple Facebook accounts, and then eventually it's seeming like they're just gone. They're off into the ether somewhere, and no one really knows what they're up to or what's going on. And they're not the same people that they were back then, and we are not the same people. We are older now. Some of us are wiser. Some of us are learning from our mistakes, and dusting ourselves off and trying to make the best of life, man. If, like I said, if you're coming into the back nine of life, and man, it doesn't even matter if you're in the entertainment business. If you're making it to the back nine of life with your sanity intact, man, in this crazy world that we live in, man, consider yourself lucky, and be proud that you made it this far. Be proud that you still exist. Be proud that you're still getting up every day and getting after it, and doing what you want to do each day. We now realize that time is very valuable. There's no need to sleep all day. Let's make the best of each day and conquer each day and achieve things. And you know what? Finish strong. I think that's the word for today, man. Two words: finish strong. I know that that's my goal now, and I hope that some of my friends out there that are struggling, that they can find the light. They can find a better tomorrow, a better way to live the back part of their life with dignity. And man, I hope that this message can help some of the young people out there that watch this channel, because the reality is this, man. Those that you see now and think, oh, this is the most beautiful, person in the world, or this person is so talented and this and that, it could be a whole different scenario when the decades go by. And I'm talking many, many decades. What do you figure? My 20s, that was a decade. Then the 30s, that was another decade. And then the 40s, now I'm in the 50s and I'm headed into the 60s. We're talking like many decades go by, and man, time can seriously kick you in the ass. And life can, give you lemons, and sometimes you don't have the water and the sugar to make lemonade. So don't say, oh, what do you do if you got lemons? Make lemonade. Sometimes you ain't got the water, and sometimes you ain't got the sugar. Sometimes you just got to suck on a sour lemon, because that's all you got. And you know what? Like I said, if you made it this far, if you're still relatively healthy, if you're still relatively sane, and you're happy with your position in life, consider yourself very, very lucky, because there's many of us out there, ones that didn't make it, that are no longer on this planet, and there are many that are struggling and having a tough time with life. So, you know what? Stay strong, finish strong on the back nine, and let's all help each other out in this back nine of life. And let me know what you're going to do in the back nine of life so that you can live your best life. Thanks for watching.